So when it comes to you building the hybrid app, it's all happening relatively rapidly. I think when you told me how much time you spent on building the prototype that I now use on daily basis, pretty much, I was blown away. But how did it all work out in such a short period of time, assembling the right team and making sure that you can go at such a speed?
Yeah. So I think that from a team perspective, we're really lucky that I happened, like at working at Whoop, you work with some of the smartest people in the world that are passionate about health and fitness. And so my network of those people was like surprisingly large. And I'm very thankful for that. And so turned out that some of my best friends from my time at Whoop are the right pieces that we needed to be able to build what we're building at Hybrid. I focused on growth while at Whoop. We have somebody that was a product manager focusing on strain and some of like the core algorithms. We have somebody who was working on analytics and data science. And then we have an engineer who spent time at AWS. And then in the side, like not beyond just like the technical and like career experience, we also have all done half Ironmans or marathons or like all sorts of different stuff. It's like we're building a product for ourselves and we both deeply understand the space and have the right skill set to go and build it. From a speed perspective, so for context, we started building at like the last week of September was when we wrote our first lines of code, and recording this is November 21st. And we've got a working prototype. We've got a bunch of paid users. We've been getting really good feedback. We've been going really fast.
2 months.
2 months. 2 months. And 2 months is a long time, but it's also not a lot of time. But on this is actually a funny YC story. Is on day one of YC, we went to our group partner and we were like, "Hey, we want to go faster, and so we're thinking about hiring a contract engineer." And our partner was basically like, "Don't do that. Like, what do you mean?" And we were like, "Well, like only one of us is truly technical, and so the rest of us are like helping, but like we don't really know how to write the code as well." And he was like, "You guys are idiots. Like, go like use the AI tools and figure it out and just like work hard at it." And we were like, "Okay, all right, let's do it." And so for the last 8 weeks, like I wrote my first ever lines of code. I've since made over 200 commits to the project. Like we're all in the weeds. We understand like the very, very granular how this thing works. And like any of us can go in and fix a bug. And, you know, it wasn't possible to be doing what we're doing the way that we are a year ago, but it is now.
I think that you are paving the way for a new breed of startup entrepreneurs that are able to go this path of learning things, picking them up, messing with the code themselves. Just to paint the picture, how big is the team that you have? I think we should state that also.
It's four of us. And we all right now, we're all living in one house, sitting around a kitchen table for 14 hours a day.
What's been your biggest learning from Y Combinator so far?
I think that there are a lot of good learnings, and I think that there's a lot of benefits to being in the program. If I had to boil it down to like one learning, it's just like go fast and ship faster than you think that you're ready for. Like when we got our first paying user 2.5, 3 weeks into building, like that was insane to me. I didn't think that we would be monetizing until after the new year. And they really pushed us to be like, no, pare it down, solve one small problem, and then go get money for it. And then prove that there's people that are willing to pay for this. And so like, you were one of those people that was willing to take the bet early that like, oh yeah, like this is like useful to me now, but it's not really that great, but like I can see how it's gonna get there. And we like, if we were not a part of YC, I don't know that we would have that same exact mindset. And I don't know that we would be, at a point where we have paying users yet, which is crazy to think about considering now we've got like a budding community and like people giving us money, and like we're, building something based on the feedback that we're in a group chat together all day, every day, talking about like how to make it better and getting feedback, throwing out ideas, etc.
How did you break the pattern of a startup founder that wants to have everything super polished and perfect? Because that's what I see on a daily basis when, we receive requests to build apps and digital products with a spec sheet that is extremely long. It probably has every single feature that you can possibly imagine. I have personally participated in projects that we would be building for years, and we would be adding functionality left and right, and they would never get properly launched, versus the approach that you are describing. You barely have anything and you go sell it, and people jump at it. How do you break that in your head so you don't really take it personally that maybe in some aspect your product actually sucks, but you can't think about it that way?
No, you can't. I think that the biggest thing to keep in mind when you're building is that the most valuable like resource you can get, especially early, is feedback from people that are actually going to pay you money for it. Like everybody wants to be like, oh, I'm going to get free users on this and I'll take those free users feedback, etc. But the being willing to pay is actually a great filter for like who is really feeling this problem and like who is actually the type of person that I want to build this product for. And finding those people and then building for what they need and what they want is the right way to really be able to like iterate and go fast. I think like Whoop does a really good job of moving fast. It's actually something that I was very impressed with, especially for the size of the organization. But when you're as lean and early as we are, like we can go even faster. And like, you know, sometimes you have to just take a plunge and put it out there and say like, yeah, I know that there's like these gaps. Like, for example, what I was saying about we're pulling all of those workouts in right now, but we're not at the point yet where we're probably another like 2 weeks away from having that like actual unique data science layer on top of it. And like, that is the like, so what on top of the like pulling all this together. And in my head, like when I first started thinking about this, there was no way that I would have been like wanted to launch it before that point. And I'm so glad that we did, because there's so much stuff that we have iterated on between launch point and now that we wouldn't have done until after this like next set of building, which is just so backwards.
When you say that you are 2 weeks away, I'm getting goosebumps, because I think that just pictures the pace that you operate with, and it is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's on my phone now. It's feature flagged, so you don't have access to it. But like, there's some tweaks and final like adjustments we're working on.
Where is the idea of having the founding members, having the people that will provide you feedback, that will jump with you into a WhatsApp group, share screenshots, debug, etc.? Where is it coming from? Because I feel like it's relatively unique, and I think it's giving you an edge to also make the right decisions, what to implement into the product and what not.
Yeah. So that's a great question. And this was something we did because we really wanted to make sure that we had like a good feedback loop with people that really cared. And we felt that by letting people feel like they're building this with us in many ways, that we'll just end up building a better product because they're invested in what's happening and where it's going and like, how does this continue to shape out? And so, I mean, you know this because you remember, but for context for the listeners, what we did was we launched a program where for $199, you got lifetime access to the product. We put you in a WhatsApp group with all the other like founding members, and we gave you some hats, shirts, sweatshirts, some swag, and it's like probably the best thing that we've done. We've since like grown the user base like well beyond that group. It was a very limited space. We only let in 30 people, but those people every single day in the WhatsApp group are like giving us feedback. I've hopped on the phone with a handful of them to be like, hey, here's like a thing that I know that you particularly care about. Here's a design for how I'm thinking about solving it. Like, what do you think? How would you expect this to work? And having like that resource is so valuable to us. And, it also just makes it a lot more fun because we have like people that are excited every day when we ship new products and new features.
Is there some product hacks that you think someone could learn from and leverage in their building of a digital product? Because like you have been doing it for quite a while and you have experience from many different sizes of organizations. So is there something that you carried through your journey?
There are a lot. I think that the two things that I hold like the most tightly are like talk to users every single day. Even if it's not on the phone, like we have that WhatsApp group, I'll ping people individually and be like, hey, like here's a screenshot of what I'm thinking about, like what are your thoughts, etc. And the second is like follow the data. People will lie to you about like what they want or like what they like, whether they like it or not, etc. And the data always tells you the truth. And so make sure that you understand like what are the numbers that matter to your business and how are you trending relative to best in class for your industry, and continue to optimize around those and like make very specific goals around moving those metrics.